If you grew up with siblings, then you fully understand sibling rivalry. What was it about our brothers and sisters? They just knew how to pick at us and pressure us in just the right way in order to make us mad. Well, our passage today takes sibling rivalry to a brand new level. Our passage is Genesis 4, 1 through 12, and our title is Sibling Rivalry and Sin. Here's the context of the primary verses we'll be looking at, which are verses 6 through 7. Cain and Abel, two brothers, both bring a sacrifice to God. Cain brings some of the fruit from the ground that was produced through his toil, and Abel brought a sheep from his flock. Both gave them to God. Well, God looked upon Abel's sacrifice with favor, but on Cain's sacrifice, he wasn't pleased. In this moment, God knows there's something deeper going on inside of Cain, which is why he says the following words to him. It says, "Then the Lord said to Cain, 'Why are you angry?'" God knew what was going on deep inside of Cain. "Why is your face downcast? If you do what is right, will you not be accepted?" Right now, he's probably feeling insecurity around his relationship with God because his offering wasn't accepted. "But if you do not do what is right, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it." God says, "I see what's going on inside of you, Cain. You have anger because of what just happened. You need to deal with that, or it's not going to be good." Well, what we know from the rest of the story is Cain never dealt with his anger. Instead, he acted out on it and killed his brother. God sees what happens. He comes down and he separates Cain from his family based on his actions. The important point that I want us to notice in this passage is that God was trying to use the situation with the sacrifices to help Cain grow in his sin that was living inside of him, to overcome the sin that was crouching at the door. But instead of dealing with it, he gave into it. Sometimes God wants to use our biggest adversaries to teach us the greatest lessons of the sin that we struggle with inside of us. If that's going to happen, instead of always focusing on the other people, we need to ask God, okay, what are you trying to show me? If Cain would have dealt with his root issue of jealousy and anger, he wouldn't have killed his brother. But instead of focusing on himself, he focused on his brother, and as a result, he killed him. Which brings us to our question for today. Is God trying to show me something about myself through my relationship with others? I know they've done certain things. I know that they offended you. I know that they maybe hurt you in some way. What is God trying to show you about what's going on inside of yourself through this relationship? God wants to use every circumstance to bring us closer to him, even broken relationships. Maybe today is a great time to start praying forgiveness over that person and also forgiveness over yourself for what has happened. Deal with the root, and it won't produce the fruit. God bless.